Greetings and happy Wednesday. It is Naima Singletary here with the power to lead an unseen vision every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live right here at 12 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Paris time. And today's topic is the hostility and speed of holding high standards. The hostility, yet the speed in holding high standards. And before I get into today's content, I want to give notice for those of you who are here for the first time, who will be watching this replay, meeting me for the first time and watching the replay, is two things. There's content that I share out here for the whole world to see, because once this video is here on YouTube, it's out here in perpetuity unless I make it private. So if you want to receive content that I do not share publicly, because I really want it to be for people who have expressed interest in me staying in communication with them, not people who may have randomly come across this video who are kind of like out there. I share content with my email list that's disruptive, that's cutting edge, that's what you might call fringe content, because like I'm leading edge is what it is that I'm sharing. I'm shifting things. I'm not interested in being the greatest seller. I'm interested in shifting things within the industry where people are greatest sellers. So if you want to if you want to receive the content that I do not share publicly and I only share with my list, there is a link below this video for you to opt into my email subscriber community if you are not already there. So I strongly encourage you to do that, particularly if you deeply resonate with what it is that I share and you know that there's more and you like to continue to be fed by what it is that I share, but then you want to see what more is there. So that's one. And then two, I encourage you that even if you don't see us working together, like there are people who I see value in what it is that they share, but I don't particularly want to work with them. I'm open to your experience. I'm just really curious about the different levels of the way people assert power and what the real challenges are. The stuff that we don't talk about publicly. So if there's something that you don't see people talking about publicly, specifically people who are supposed to be leaders in transformation, change agents, cutting edge, maverick people, and there's something in particular that you don't see being discussed publicly, and you have a challenge or a pain or some deep thought that you really want to get out, I encourage you to email me. Okay, I do enjoy receiving those kinds of emails too. So if you just want to share something, or if you have a question, or that falls into what I've just described, email me. And my email is also below this video, okay? So those are the two things. One, the two things below. One, my email, so you can email me if you have something really compelling and riveting that you either want to share with me or you have a question about. And then two, if you want content that I never share with the public, there's a link below for you to subscribe to my community. Okay, so now that that's out of the question, let's get to it. So first of all, such a joy for me to be here. I was getting ready, I get all cute for you guys. And I was doing my lipstick and I was flat ironing my hair so I could be here. I'm really thinking about, okay, Naima, if there's anything in particular about this topic, because I knew on Monday that this was the topic for today. But then as we get closer to the date and I start to fill in material, and then obviously the hour before I really start to zone into the content that I'm going to be sharing. And I was thinking about, wow, this is incredible. I share with you guys what has happened in my world, what I see going on in other women's world. And it's like a peek around the corner that you haven't been around yet. And there's just been so many years where, and I still feel like this, but now I feel well used in being able to speak about it publicly versus before. I felt so deeply alone and marginal. And I have lived a very marginal life on the fringes compared to what's normal in the world. And I was feeling such deep joy preparing to be here today. And I hope you can appreciate this, because I just know this is a blessing for the people that it's supposed to be a blessing for. And so I thank you for listening and sharing it, particularly if it really is compelling and meaningful for you and you know other people in your world who can benefit from it. And I'm glad that I have gone through what I have gone through, because I can share the way I share only because of what I have gone through. And so I'm grateful for those of you who find tremendous value in this content. Okay, so now that I've dedicated 6 minutes to that, to this whole introduction, let's get into this, the hostility and speed of holding high standards. Oh my God. Feels like a paradox, right? The hostility and the speed. So what is this about? What am I talking about? So on the path to becoming, me becoming the woman that I am, that I will be, that I'm becoming, right? The woman that you are becoming, the man that you are becoming, right? It's always a matter of coming into higher awareness about who you are, right? You get a new awareness, you get a new awareness, you get a new awareness through the experiences that you have in life. You get a new awareness. And you get the awareness, the next awareness, to the degree that you have won, so to speak, on embracing the awareness in front of you, right? I hope that makes sense. And so it's like, okay, I got that lesson. Then the next one reveals itself. Okay, I got that one, the next one. And so the degree that you don't let go, the degree that you refuse to grow up, the degree to which you wait for permission, the degree to which you keep watching me and other people on video, but not actually doing the damn thing, is how much you are not revealed, how much the next level of awareness is not revealed to you. So that's, some beginner, that's what happened, right? On the path to becoming, there's new awarenesses that happen. And so much of my career, which my being and my career, they go hand in hand. Like, who I show up as here is there's nothing that I can give to you that doesn't already exist within me, that hasn't, and this is the same for you, right? You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot teach and give content in an area where you have not embodied, transmuted, alchemized, and now are ready to give it in the form of gold to other people, right? So I'm able to share with you in this way because of the new levels of awareness that I have lifted to in my own life. And part of the different levels of awareness are have been in the financial realm, right? Like the scarcity consciousness and this doesn't just affect money, like scarcity consciousness affects everything. But I mean, like when I think back to the financial struggles that I had before, and there's a way that I can see it now at this level that I couldn't see it back then because I didn't have the exposure, right? I hadn't had the higher levels of consciousness yet. And when I look back in every area where I have accomplished something in the external world, it was a matter of me holding a standard in the internal world, in the invisible world, and then having that reflect in the external world. Because when you make up your mind about something, right? Like, this is the standard. I mean, without any of this, well, this is the standard if this happens, or this is the standard as long as I can, right? It is required for you to understand how so absolutely critical it is for you to recognize how much your decision, actually part of the title should have been the hostility and speed in holding high standards and making a decision. The lack of a decision is a decision, first of all, okay? And then making a decision that is, whether it's a little bit off from your norm or radically, like if you're made the way I'm made, you are looking for radical. You're not looking to go from $10,000 a month to $15,000. You're looking to go from 10,000 to 20 or 10,000 to 50. Like, you're looking for quantum, right? Because if you're like me, you habituate very quickly, right? You get to this level and this becomes normal and boring, and then quickly, right? And you get to this one and this becomes normal and boring. And so when you erect a new standard, and let's say there's an actual story that I want to share here, and what's required of you in being able to navigate, and I've already started talking about this in previous shows, the earthquakes and the volcanoes that will surround you to really test how serious you are about this new high standard that you must habituate to, right? Because if your normal is, 5, 10, whatever the number is per month, and I'm using money because it's measurable, it's tangible, but there's other areas where this applies. If your normal is $10,000 a month, and you are going to $20,000 a month or 30 or anything higher, that's not normal for you yet. So the mind creates all kind of whatevers, and then there's a reaction from the universe. Like, this is so immensely powerful. Gosh, this is so powerful. When you have that standard and you say, this is it now, right? The decision, this is it now. You immediately activate. This is why you have seen, and this has probably happened in your life as well, where you make a decision and all of a sudden shit starts happening. Something either amazingly positive happens or amazingly negative happens, right? And if your mind is not trained, you automatically think that the negative means stop and the positive means go. But it doesn't mean it means what you make it mean, but what remains is, what is the standard that you've decided about? What is the standard? So, an example. So I told you guys on Monday's show about this amazing, this was so amazing. And I'm not even going to get into what made it amazing, but this amazingly successful event in London. Last year, August, at the time, I knew maybe 3 people in London. We filled this room with over 20 people. And I knew maybe 3 people in London, and I didn't even really know them. I kind of knew of them through social media. And I remember I woke up with this, I was living in Paris, and I woke up with this urgency, I was disturbed. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I woke up and I didn't even brush my teeth. I didn't brush my teeth. I think I just sort of threw some water on my face, just got my hair together, presentable, threw on some clothes, and I just started walking without a destination. And I've been doing this transformation work long enough to know, and I have given myself over in increments. Oh God, that's another conversation about the all in versus the incremental, right? And there's a level of suffering that happens when you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I think that's another topic for another time, but the level of suffering, wow, and how much I actually like suffering. I have to admit, I choose to admit that there is a part of me up until then that really liked suffering. Oh my God, the comfort of familiarity, even when it's not good for me, okay? And I'm quite certain that I'm preaching to the choir. Because that's how the mortal mind works. Fucking mortal mind. So anyway, I woke up and I just started walking. And so I was living in Montmartre, a certain area, right? And I started walking toward the opera area, which is, it's like depending on how fast you're walking, maybe a 30-ish minute walk from where I was living. And no destination, just walking. And I just started talking to God, what is it? Because I knew, sometimes this is how the conversation gets with me and God, when there's a disruption and I don't have any explanation for the disruption. And it's what is it? What do you want? Give it, right? It's let's go, give it, right? And that's what was going on. It's okay, because what was happening was, gosh, you guys, and this is a part of why and I didn't know this then, and I just know it so clearly now. It's I knew it anyway. But why there's been so much encouragement for us to immerse in Paris. Because I know how non-linear this is, first of all, and how much of a push, pull, right? And because we're here, where there's the mind, You must catch this. You will catch this, because this is what it looks like when you are ascending and coming into something that you have not been in the physical plane yet. When you are becoming, like, you are who you are now, but there is some person that you will become on the path of birthing the thing that you are meant to birth. And this is why I know that my whole life has been about living on the fringes and wondering, why am I here? And never being able to remove myself. I hope you're catching this, right? I know I'm talking to the right person. Where you're on this path where, after my divorce at 26 years old, I just was off, like, figuring this thing out. I moved from California to Texas, and I was just like, I gotta figure this out. And when I say figure it out, I mean, like, who am I to be? Why am I here? Because I felt such a compelling, like, it was not of this world. And I just never fit anywhere, but I could go anywhere and do that shape-shifting thing to see how people were navigating and how I was responding. And right, so I would always end up in unusual places where I'm the youngest person, I'm the oldest person, I'm the only Black person, I'm the only woman, I'm the only American, right? And just understanding how people are and how I am in relationship with these people and what sets me apart and how I think and how normal people think, all this and all that. So on your path to becoming, if you've been like me, you've lived a very marginalized, fringe kind of life, where you do all the things that the people do. You eat, sleep, right? You do all those things, but you just don't look at life the same. And even though you look like a certain demographic, like, you look at me, I am a Black female. That's what you see, right? So if you have a simple, normal lens, that's all you see is Black female. And so no matter who you are constructed in the way that you are to be able to appeal to the people who look like you. Like, I am meant to have an impact of wake up on Black women. That's why I was born like this. You were born, if you're some other, like, Latino woman, a Middle Eastern woman, a Chinese man, part of the reason, and if you know you were born to change things, you were born looking the way you looked because you are more likely to attract people who look like you, because you're meant to wake up the people who look like you. Not saying you're not meant to wake up others, but you're definitely meant to wake up people who look like you, okay? And so I'm charging on this walk, like, what is it? Okay, right? Because I was really, you guys, I was living this self-absorbed. And when I say self-absorbed, it's like I had made progress. The dream was to be living in Paris. I was living in Paris. I was consistently at like $30,000-ish a month. Like, it was, when I used to hear about women with money who, didn't have anything to do, so they would go be a part of charities and things like that, I finally understood what that looked like, because I was, to the average onlooker, it's like, wow, look at Naima. She's living in Paris. Right? Because I was sharing pictures and videos and all that, but I was in the house like 70% of the time. I knew I wasn't being used to the degree that I was born to be used. I was making all this money. I was giving so much of it away, and I was hurting. And so when this thing came through me, this was God saying, get to work, right? And I knew that at the time. And there was a part of me that just was crying all the time on the couch. Like, I have pictures today of me on my couch in Paris crying. Like, I know I'm supposed to move, but what am I supposed to do? And is now the time? And right? Because it's been very difficult being me, frankly, and being public being me. And so it was like, okay, what is it? It was like a surrender, right? But it was much more aggressive, right? It was like, okay, what is the thing? And it dropped in. Go do this event in London. It dropped in. It just, and this is how I know for myself and for other people when somebody is serious. material comes through and there's a response to the material. Remember, I told you lack of a decision is a decision. So when I was refusing to ask the question, to be available, when I'm on my couch in Paris crying, that was my unwillingness to make a decision, my unwillingness to ask the question, all right? What does it look like for you? And so surrendered, go to the event in London. London, this is how the mortal mind goes. This is why I keep, every show, I talk about the mortal mind, because the mortal, this, I was going to say this bastard, I will not make it the enemy. I will look at it for the purpose of it, okay? Because it does have a purpose, and my job and your job is to tease out its function and to use it when it's of service and to deny it when it is not of service. So my mortal mind was like, London, you don't even know anybody in London. It's just like, there it goes, the mortal mind. And so I made the decision that I was gonna have the event in London. Boom, there it is. I made the decision, not like I'll do this if, let me put this out there and see how people respond. No, I'm gonna do this event in London. And I think, I don't even remember if I came up with a number of like people at that time, but I remember the decision was, okay, I'm gonna do this in London. And I remember going back to the apartment, going to do a video. I had a Facebook group at the time. I did a video in this group announcing that I was having this event in London and that I was looking for somebody. I'm telling you, this is how it works. The speed and the hostility, right? So the hostility started with just the waking up, right? Because there was a part of me that was sick and tired of not allowing myself to be in service at the next level. I was already in service, but there was a next level. And when you are who I am and have the conversations with God that I have, speed is always on the menu. And so I went back to my apartment immediately because I had made the decision. So my actions reflected the decision. Did this video, told folks in the video, hey, if you're in London and you want to be a part of this event, I'm looking for an event manager. Send me a video with answering these 3 or 4 questions, and I will get back to you if it's a good fit. So I got responses. This one particular woman lived in London. She had been in my group for some time, maybe like 6 months or so. She sent this video that was compelling. I contacted her. She ended up being my event manager. She was highly responsible for filling the room, and it was extraordinary. I mean, like, I'm making this story really, really short to make the point, but in the process of when I made the decision that I was gonna host this event in London to the day of the event, in between, there was things that people said that they would do that they then backed out of. And if my mind had not been trained, I could have easily looked at it as, well, now's not the time, whatever. I found myself so tired because I was stepping into, right? Like, it's like bringing the future into now. So what happens is, if I have never had an event in London, and put yourself into this situation. If I have never had an event in London, and there's another piece. I've never had an event in London. I don't know anybody in London. And yet I'm creating something that doesn't exist. Remember, we're creating something that doesn't exist. So it's something you've never done before, an experience you've never had before, an amount of money you've never had before, right? Who is the woman that has this thing? So if you get called to create something that you've never created, you're not the woman now, as of right now, who has that thing. So then what you must do is bring the future into now. This is amazing. You bring the future into now. This is how one way that you collapse time and space. Take that in. Like, I'm even being struck by it right now. That's a hallelujah right there. Take that in. if you are creating events you never had before, if you are going from 5,000, you know, that's low. But if you're going from, you know, 500,000 in revenues to 2 million in revenues annually, if you are creating something you've never created before, you must think, who is the woman? You have that answer. I guarantee you, you have that answer. Who is the woman that has a business generating 2 million in revenue annually? Who is the woman who fills an event in London when she doesn't know anybody, and you know she's only been there, I think I've only been to London like 2 or 3 times at that point for like simple trip. I had a smaller event there, but it was like 3 women in the room, and I'd only ever gone there besides that for pleasure. So who is the woman that is going to create this thing that you never created? So you imagine who she is in the future, and actually you bring her into now. The reason why I'm doing that is because people have a tendency to think, okay, I'm not her now, so that must be me down the line. But the way you collapse time and space and bring the future into now is you take the woman who you imagine you would be later at 2 million in annual revenue, or fill in whatever the thing is, and bring it into now. So how would this woman be? She would be contacting people to have them help her. She would be hiring this person. She would be thinking like this. She would be going to do this. She would be doing these things that she's never done before. Boom, you collapse time and space and you start creating things that you've never created before. People start showing up. I mean, I'm telling you, this woman showed up, did this video, you know, answered the questions that I asked everybody to answer in the video. I went total in here, faith. I totally went into faith and trusting because I made the decision. Who is the woman that has this event in London when she doesn't know anything about? Oh, she has trust and faith. That's what she is. She trusts that this is going to happen. She has faith that this is going to happen. This young lady started bringing people to me that I had never met before. She started, I'm telling you, literally, you know how we filled that room? She contacted, Lord, not countless. I don't even know how many people. That's how many people it was. She contacted so many people that interviewed me on Zoom, and we streamed the Zoom onto Facebook. And let me tell you how like deep we got into this. And see, on the outside, see, what happens is we want see how it's going to look before it actually happens. I'm preaching to the choir. You already know. It doesn't work like that. And so outside of the decision, I would not have got this intelligence. Once I got inside, this whole Zoom thing started happening. And we basically, everybody who she called in to interview me, she trained them a simple training on how to use Zoom. So then we streamed Zoom onto Facebook, onto their Facebook wall. Catch that. I just gave you a marketing strategy, okay? If you're ready for that level. We streamed, so she ended up getting all these people I don't even know. Like literally, I would be doing like 2-3 interviews a day with business owners in London that she found, that was then basically creating fame around me and my event in London, the city where I didn't know anybody. This is the speed part. I'm telling you, within 90 days we did this. I knew nobody except for her, right? Because she was in my group. She was one of the 3. And then 2 other people. Like one was like one of the women. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, that was the speed. We filled this event, and then I ended up making over $10,000 in 4 hours at this event. I mean, like, I could go on and on and on to the advancement that's available for you when you hold the high standard. So what happened so that's the speed of it, right? And then the hostility of it is the people who would say they were going to do something and then pull out. Like what happened inside of me, because I was creating something that I never created before. And so doubt would creep in, and I would have to activate my faith again, or like uncanny exhaustion, like the spirit of opposition. I'm warning you, right? And I'm also preaching to the choir that when you are birthing something that does not exist, the spirit of opposition will come in. and you'll have unusual feelings. You'll have unusual terror. You'll have it unusual. All right. I have just sat here for the last 5 minutes waiting for the internet to get itself back right. I'm here in the mountains of Italy, as many of you know, and it's what it does sometimes. So, in wrapping up, I talked about the speed, right? And when you make a decision, and it's at a level that you have yet to attain, and then the hostility that ensues both internally and externally, that it's a thing that you should, this is like me saying, darling, darling, this is going to happen and it is okay. Then it's like, how do you navigate that baby? Because gosh, depending on, and this is the beauty, now this is the benevolence of the universe. I told you the universe is definitely a hostile and responsive thing. But the benevolence, the inner lining of that hostility, the benevolence is anywhere that is required for you to refine is where you will struggle the most. Okay, look at that. Anywhere where you are required to be refined in birthing your thing. If you're weak in your faith, if you're weak in your ability to ask, if you're weak in your ability to receive, wherever you are weak is where you will struggle the most. And this is a very good thing because then you get stronger. So I'm going to wrap up now. There was something specifically, I had it as I was sitting here, it was right there. Share with me I said this in the beginning. What is it then? I'm going to leave it at that for now. So I will be back here on Friday. Like I said, on Monday, the site will be live sometime early next week for the Spirit of Highness happening in San Francisco, December 20th, specifically for the Powerful and Protected class, the Blessed Few. If you're wondering who that is, you should probably go back and look at Friday's show. Comment here. Give me, I can see when comments come up here. So what's up? Let me know, how can I be of service? That was the question. How can I be of service? Is there something that I can talk about here that would be in service to you? Is there something that's on your mind? I know I mentioned earlier to feel welcome to send me email. So yes, absolutely do that. And you can also leave it here as a comment. Like, how can I be in service? Like, I love being here. I love sharing what I have is what I love. I love sharing what I have. We're working right now to get me more speaking events. I'm going to be speaking in London, November 26th. And I love giving what I have. And even better, touching the people who I'm meant to touch and seeing them go and be who they are born to be, and birthing things that does not yet exist, and being able to receive money, like much larger amounts of money than they've ever received before. So how can I be of service here? Since I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I've committed to this until I'm done. What is it that I can speak to here that will be in service to you, right? And maybe I'll repeat this again because I want folks to let me know, like make a comment, send me an email, because I'm aware of the nicheness of this, the specialty. Like, this is a special topic. This is not something you're going to see all over. So I really want to be in service to the people who I'm meant to serve. So don't hold back. If there's a question, if there's a way that you feel like is, that thing that really needs to be expressed, the question that is burning to be asked, the expression that is burning to be lived, bring it to me. Ask it, comment, send an email, okay? So that's it. I will be back here on Wednesday, and I'm delaying because I'm loving being here. Anyway, Adiva Day.